1.10. Appropriate approaches. This section outlines how scientific findings and theories influence our conceptions of reality and how these conceptions can change over time. It is emphasized that traceability, transparency, and verifiability are important quality criteria of science to ensure that results are sound. It is also pointed out that even laws of nature can change over time and are only a result of evolution, and that there may be other possibilities. Finding a feasible way. Responsible action by scientists also means making the steps that led to a result comprehensible. Traceability, transparency, and verifiability are related scientific quality criteria. In everyday scientific life, we rely on the tried and tested, that is, on what has been proven through repetition and has not yet been disproven. Reading tip, Von Forster 1997. For example, the astronomer Siegfried Petersheim explained to me that one can measure the distance of stars from the Earth by using the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. One sees a displacement of the star in front of the background, which is smaller the further the star is away from us. For the more distant galaxies, one observes a shift of light toward the red end of the spectrum, which is larger the farther the star system is from us. See Petersheim in Girdler 1997a. As long as this measuring method is not replaced or refuted by a more exact one, it remains valid. It is practicable and it is scientifically usable, but this presupposes that we remain aware of its conditionality and procedure according to the constructivist epistemology. Also, laws of nature can fall. Is there really no unchangeable reality? Yes, you will say, the laws of nature. No, laws of nature, as a man-made term for something very static, so to speak God-given, must be problematic. In fact, I introduced you to Hans-Peter Dürr, an astrophysicist who had his well-reasoned reservations about it, and who explained this in an interview.
The laws of nature also do not apply in the way we believe they do, in the old mechanistic form that something runs like clockwork. But the laws of nature are also just a result of evolution, that they have evolved, presumably also in such a way that other possibilities of legal arrangement were possible, but it is so locked in a certain way, almost like a kind of habit. I always think of when I'm riding on the train and it starts raining and I see the water running down the window. You have to watch the water trying to come down. It comes down in the most crooked ways, but once it finds a path, all the water goes that way. And then I come behind it and ask, why did the water go exactly this path? There could have been another path, but once it finds the path, then it becomes, in a sense, a law of nature now for the flow of water. In this way, the regularities have also come into being.
Hans-Peter Dürr, in Girdler 1997b at 516. Here Hans-Peter Dürr, without saying it directly, resorts to the fit of the constructivist. The rainwater chose a way down on the disk that suited it, or it made that way for itself. The path did not have to be this exact path, but it had to fit only at this moment, today, and only on this one slice for the water to flow down. In scientific work, we orient ourselves to suitable procedures in order to arrive at usable results, but whether these are really the suitable procedures only becomes apparent in retrospect. Of course, we respect the limits of the methods we have chosen. They, too, did not come into being by God's hand as irrefutable laws of nature at the creation of the world, but through testing and constant application, aimed only at leading to results according to scientific criteria of quality. Objectivity is producible. In this way, objectivity can actually be striven for. Constructivist thinking does not stand for the justification of arbitrariness, but asks critically about the conditions of the coming into being of a point of view or cognition. Objectivity in scientific work is ensured by factual presentation, by a representative selection of arguments and counterarguments, by clear description, by correct interpretation and by consideration of objections. Doubts about the repeatedly assumed general validity of laws of nature are therefore appropriate. So what fits, and what does not? We have focused here on the property word fitting. Ideally, it takes the place of right from now on. So we are no longer making an ontological statement, but a constructivist one. Ontological thinking does not work anyway. Even the supposedly right is always subject to a paradigm. This means a frame of reference, and this is always defined by people, so it can never be set absolutely. The advantage of constructivist fitting is therefore that we now focus on the success of a step, a path, a solution. The beauty of this is, as soon as something is recognized as fitting, it fits. And this does not exclude that other solutions and ways can also fit. It's like our shirts, they may fit us. But experience shows that this fitting only works for a certain time. At the end of this chapter you will have a basic picture of science and scientific work. Now use the worksheet presented at the beginning of this chapter to work through the notes you have made so far.